Hello, Pathfinders. How are y'all? What is going on? It's your girl, Deborah the Queen, and this is another episode of Light the Path podcast. We're digging in for season 6, and look, we're going across the globe today, all the way from Australia. Our guest is from Australia, and you're absolutely, like every other episode, gonna love this conversation. Look, let me read the intro to you. I gotta put my glasses on. Look, here it is. Today on Light the Path podcast, we're getting closer than before, closer to freedom from pressure, expectations, and the invisible rules we didn't even realize we were living by. I'm joined by Mandy Merrifield, a transformational coach and the founder of the Confidence Hour. With over 20 years in corporate leadership and emotional intelligence, don't y'all, we need that, right? We need some of that info today and a powerful personal recovery journey. Mandy now helps women stop living life based on what they should do and start choosing what they actually want. This conversation is going to be honest. This conversation is going to be freeing and deeply affirming. If you've ever felt boxed in by expectations that don't fit who you are anymore, this episode is for you. And if you know someone that you love that would absolutely enjoy this, press pause, hit share, and come back to us, okay? Make sure that you follow, like, and subscribe. Y'all Pathfinders, help me welcome Mandy to Light the Path podcast.
Hi, Deborah.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me all the way from Australia.
I know. Thank you so much. We're doing a global tour over here at Light the Path. We're getting closer than before, but we're going further out to get our guests. And I am so thankful that you're here, that you answered the call. And I just cannot wait to get into this with you because, I'm a woman of reinvention and not the status quo. So what I want to first ask is, what was the moment or the season that told you something had to change?
Look, that's it's a really simple answer. In the intro, you referred to, a personal trauma that I suffered in 2016. And just to put it out there, because I'm a very open book, that was at the bottom of alcoholism. And the season, the moment that I knew life had to change was at around 9:50 a.m. and maybe 9:47 a.m. I don't know, on the 13th of October 2016. And there was something in me at that moment on that day that it was such a deep down. There was no logic. It wasn't a conscious thought. It wasn't rational. It wasn't a decision-making process. It was something much bigger. And I just said to myself, I'm done. I can't live like this anymore. And I poured what was left of the last of the red wine down the sink as I looked out my back window in my little country house, and that was it. And I knew it was going to be bloody, the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life, but I was done.
So very good. Listen, so how do women begin to even recognize what's truly theirs versus what they've inherently got from society, from family or work? We sort of, this is guys too. We put who we are as our titles. I'm a mom, I'm a corporate person. How do we begin to recognize what's truly ours?
So interesting that you started to talk about the labels, because when I was perusing the questions that we were going to talk about today, I kind of went, you kind of let go of the expectations and this and that, but that's actually not as easy as it is to say, as it is to actually separate in life. And one of the exercises that I do with my coaching clients, and I work predominantly with women, is I say to them, who are you? And I generally get those first couple of labels. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a nurse, I'm a this, I'm a that. And then I say to them, okay, go again. Who are you? And they go, huh?
Yes, because that's so hard. It's so
Yeah. And then
hard.
I might get, oh, I'm a runner, or I'm a gym junkie, or I'm a dog mom, or I'm someone who likes coffee, or, that kind of next level. And then I say, okay, go again. And they get really, really stuck. And I help them out because that's who I am. And I say, okay, we're now looking at who you are in here. Are you someone who is kind? Are you someone who's loyal? Are you someone who's generous? Who are you in here? And when we kind of get down to that level, it's starting to strip away those labels. And that's when, particularly as women, we can really start to get an idea of who we are and differentiate from those labels. And then I work with them to say, okay, if you have said, I'm someone who's kind or I'm someone who's generous, I then tell them to put some lenses over that. All right, what does that look like when you're giving it out to somebody else? What does it look like when somebody's being kind to you? And what does it look like when you're being kind to yourself? And that's when we can start to put in some, I call them loving fences, not boundaries. Boundaries is a really hard, harsh word, and I believe in a bit of flexibility. So loving fences is, fences can be moved around, you can see them. But
Yeah.
when we have an understanding of what it is to be kind to ourselves or respect ourselves or be loyal to ourselves, then we can start to really differentiate what you want as opposed to what the world thinks that you should be.
I love this method that you're using because that's a big deal. We know who we are to other people, but not all the time we don't know who we are for ourselves. And so
That's right.
after your personal trauma in 2016, how
Mm.
did your understanding of confidence and identity, how did that evolve from that moment?
Yeah. So, Deborah, I had been I remember from the age of 5 being um, touted as, oh, the smart one, and you're so good and you're so perfect. I remember my grandparents, and I loved my grandparents dearly. They bought me a blackboard for my 5th birthday, and I wrote my name on the blackboard, and it was, oh, you're so clever, darling. You're so, oh, look at you. And that really set up this expectation that I then lived with for the next 30 years around being exceptional, being the good girl, being perfect, excelling at whatever I did. And after, in October 2016, when I knew that something had to change, I think the biggest thing for me was letting go of ego. I'm not perfect. It was it was pretty hard. I remember saying to a friend, I'm not the perfect person that you thought I was.
That's good.
And funnily enough, this man had known me my entire life, and he said to me, Amanda Jane, I've never thought you were perfect. And I went, ooh. I was like, what? But in him saying that, I thought, wow, these are expectations I had put on myself, and I was drowning under myself. That had been conditioned through the years. I'd been a straight A student, and I'd gone to university, and I had the nice house, and I had what looked on the outside like a perfect marriage, and all of the tick boxes.
Yes.
But underneath, I wasn't happy.
That is so good because what do you think is the biggest disconnect and how can women start closing that gap? From what we've been conditioned. I mean, the pressure to perform. When you're saying this, I'm like, ooh, Mandy, do you know me in a form? Do you know the former me? Because I'm like, the pressure to perform, to keep these unrealistic expectations up. What do you think is the biggest disconnect? and how can women start closing that gap?
The biggest disconnect is the performative behavior. And funny that you said the performing part, because it's the performative behavior, the I shoulds. You hear yourself, I should be doing more. I should be doing this. I should go to the gym every day. I should be earning more money. I should be higher than I am now. I should look a certain way. I should have long hair. I should, if I'm going to go to the gym, then I should be wearing these kinds of clothes. I should be, I should be able to handle it all. I should be able to handle it all. And that is the biggest disconnect. And recognizing that is actually just starting to listen to the narrative, not only in your head, but what comes out of your mouth. And the more you hear yourself saying, I should, the more I believe you need to sit down and go, what's happening here? And the shoulds directly align with the expectations of, the societal expectations, the pressures, the conditioning, the expectations from family, friends, colleagues, so on and so forth. Even, I remember I lived in Sydney for many years, and I lived in a pretty swisho part of Sydney on the harbour. People would have their Bentleys and Porsches parked out on the driveway because their Maseratis were in the garage,
Okay.
And that was certainly not me. But it was a very, very swish part of Sydney. And I remember taking my dog for a walk and feeling out of place because I wasn't wearing the $300 athleisure wear that I was seeing around the place. And I thought, I don't need to keep up with the Joneses. I'm just out getting some fresh air, walking my dog. And when you bring it back to that reality, that's when you can start to just sit with yourself and be comfortable with who you are.
Ooh, Mandy, you helping us today. Ooh, I should. Ooh, I'm about to just control. Let me write that down. Control, Alt, delete. I should. Don't just eliminate that phrase. Eliminating one phrase could actually change your perspective, right? It could make you actually live and enjoy the present life that you have. It can be so transformative. So I'm so glad that you brought that point out. Here's my last question, because if a woman is listening and she feels stuck between who she's been and who she's becoming, what's one gentle first step you can encourage her to take?
So there's two parts of that. One is the who am I exercise. Just keep doing it until there are no labels left and you actually have to identify who you are in here. The second part, and this is really hard in today's world, is let go of the ego. Let go of who you should be. And that is the way to move forward to where you're heading, whatever that may be. And you may not know where that is. I often recall, the day that I stopped drinking, Deborah, I had $1.17 to my name. I was over $500,000 in debt.
Wow.
I had destroyed my career. I had no job left. So remembering university educated, good family, excelling student in everything, had always had all of the boxes ticked. I had nothing left. I had bills to pay. I had debts to repay. I went and cleaned urinals in men's urinals in caravan parks because I had to pay my bills. And that example, whilst kind of gross, just shows that when you let go of the ego and just do what you got to do, I often call it pulling up your big girl panties, your big Bridget Jones bloomers, just put them on. You cannot worry about what other people think of you. You just, and if there's a saying, for those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. And it is so exceptionally true. Whenever you're going through a transformation, whether it be big, small, midlife, changing careers, moving towns, changing family dynamics, whatever it is, you have to let go of what other people think of you. Because at the end of the day, this is your life. You've only got one life.
Yes.
Live it the way you want to live it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mandy. Let everyone know where they can connect with you and tell them about the Confidence Hour, how they can get in touch with you to go
Yeah.
even further. Do you accept clients from the States?
I accept clients from everywhere. I was just telling you earlier that I've actually got a 4:15 a.m. appointment tomorrow morning with someone from the US. So yes, I do, and it's really easy to find me, Deborah. Just mandymerrifield.org is really easy. All of the details are there on my website. I've actually just released my first book as well, which I'm really excited about. That for women talks about all of the shoulds and all of the conditioning, and but it does it in a really fun way. And it's not just my story; it's actually the story of 8 other everyday, ordinary women, and it shows. And I believe gives confidence and empowers other women to understand that nobody's life goes in a straight line. We all
Yes.
go like this, and then
Yes.
we all go like this, and then we out the back. And through the book, I've had people say to me, "It's like a big warm hug. I feel like I'm not alone for the first time." So there's a number of different ways that you can get in contact with me. I'm on all of the social media, Facebook, Instagram. I'm not that great with Instagram, but, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, my website, mandymerrifield.org, or you can also just look me up on Amazon and find my book and have a bit of a read.
Yes, I will make sure, Mandy, that I put your contact information in the description box so people
Yeah,
can point and click any socials, any your website, and also for your book. So thank you so much for your
you're
time
welcome.
and shedding light on this. Pathfinders, remember that sharing our experiences is not only empowering, it can help light the path.
It sure can.